Okay, jumping back again, just kind of chopping this up in pieces so I can get some really quality understanding, and so I don't have to rush through this. But they took us through the house a little bit. We've been talking to John Andrew Ramsey, John's oldest son. And, they're constantly blaming the police, saying the police aren't doing their job, and the police this, that, and the third. And so it's always the police's fault, and the police aren't following up on anybody else. They're just constantly looking at us and treating us like victims, and there's no reason for it. That's very entitled. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's very entitled. That's a very entitled thing to say. So, all right. But we went through the house a little bit, just sort of like a 3D model, but maybe they're going to got excited at the end of the last video thinking that they were going to go through the real thing. We'll see.
There's a scream. The scream was heard by one of the neighbors 150 feet across the street from the ranch.
Trying to find which house.
She said it was the most terrifying child scream I've ever heard. Now, How could she hear it, but not the parents?
Nope. I didn't know. That's what I was asking several videos back. Did JonBenét scream or something that would jolt somebody to do whatever they did? Because if there was a scream that was loud enough for the neighbors to hear it, and you telling me that none of y'all in the house heard it, and I'm just going off of what was said here, I could be wrong, but you telling me you didn't hear it? Y'all both sound asleep, and I know Burke is a heavy sleeper, of course. And Patsy, she took a melatonin, so she'd be out of it. She didn't wake up till the morning time. But there was a scream. John, allegedly, according to Dr. Weck's theory, you were the only one that was in your right mind and didn't state that you were sleeping heavily. Because as the attorney said in 97, I think that was, this is somebody that knows this house and this family very well. So if JonBenét, if she screamed loudly, then that would jolt somebody. There it is. There it is right there.
Was famed detective Lou Smith raising a critical question about the night JonBenét was killed. His unrelenting investigation of this case was featured in the Discovery Plus documentary, JonBenét Ramsey, What Really Happened. Another person who was dedicated to solving this is private investigator John St. Augustine, who joins us now. And John, before we talk about the scream, let's walk through this crime scene, because you've been intimately involved with this case. So where were JonBenét's parents' rooms on this model?
So on that model, Dr. Oz, would be the entire third floor. So right under your hand there would be the third floor. Right below that, the second floor would be where JonBenét Ramsey's room would be. In fact, that specific window right there was actually a patio that was there for JonBenét's room. Burke's room was also on the second floor on the opposite side of the house. And then you have the main level and then a basement level as well.
So this main level, if I understand correctly, is where the ransom note was found, right?
Correct. So as you actually where you're at right now, Dr. Oz, if you walk through that door that's right in front of you there, as you walk in, probably about 15, 20 feet, there's a spiral staircase. And it's on that spiral staircase that led to the second floor and to the third floor that you would have seen that ransom note. It would have been on that first floor on the stairs.
Right. That's that 3-page rambling note that was found in. And that again was, but before 6 a.m. that day, it was placed there. But it wasn't until hours later, after the police had been there for a long time, that JonBenét's body was discovered in this corner of the basement by her father. So you all see the layout now. Now, she'd been brutally tortured, assaulted, and ultimately, John, how big a problem is it that the police did not find her down in this corner until so much later?
Well, I think that's why we are where we are right now with the case being unsolved, is that, law enforcement had the opportunity to search that entire home, failed to open one of the doors where she was behind. And actually, they made even a bigger mistake by having the father, Mr. Ramsey, go look for things out of the ordinary, at which point he then discovers his little girl.
according to what John said, they made a mistake in telling him to go down there and do it. What if it were the case that your house was so big they just didn't know it was down there? And again, I don't know of any cop that, and again, I could be wrong, and I'm not saying cops do their jobs all the time. I'm not saying that. I'm not pro cop on this. I'm just saying, in a perfect rational world, the cops, if you give them free reign to go downstairs, they're checking every door. Why would they not check? Why would they see a door and not check it? Who does that? But see, here's the thing though. Who in the world had this young lady, if your house is in the top level, 3rd floor, how, pray tell, did she get all the way down to the bottom corner on the opposite side of the house? Seems like someone knew the house really well in order to take her all the way to the corner to get her away from anything. I'm talking about, on the other side of the house. That's somebody who knows what they're doing.
I just can't imagine what that was like. So you worked with Detective Lou Smith when he first came on the case. You got very intimate and understood these issues. What did he uncover about the scream heard by the neighbor 150 feet across the street? Remember, there's a street here, so the neighbor's house is over here. So there's a 150 feet distance here.
150 feet if they heard it across the street. And we assume that people had not equally big houses, grand houses, but we're talking about people who possibly, we don't know what time this was that she screamed, but we're talking about people who, ideally have their doors closed. So soundproof homes, that girl had to scream loud, and that scream would jolt somebody to try to stop it. That's why the unaliving was an accident, to try to stop it, and it was a panic job.
How is it possible that this little girl whose body is here, and this is where she was left, she may have been here as well. How is it possible that she was screamed and that wasn't heard?
That's what I thought.
Several floors up where her parents were, but rather by someone across the street.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I was like, because I was looking at the other model and I was like, where? What? And I thought I saw something down in this bottom corner here. So we come down the stairs. Yo. You really knew what you were doing to get her to that. That is the furthest corner away, because if you go up the stairs, everything is to the other side of the house and up. So if I go in here, I'm coming here. You could go way over here to the far left as well. But coming here, and I can close the door. I can close the door. I want to see that.
Debate.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So she's down here. So somebody knew what they were doing, because they come down the stairs. They got door number 1, pass through door number 2, and that's where everything was taking place. I don't see a light in here, but I do see lights in these other areas, because what you could have done, nah. This is somebody who knows what they're doing, because you come down the stairs and you travel through this first door. You could have done that. You could have traveled through, I'm sorry, not this first door, but this door, catty corner to the steps where the green rug is. You go here, and then you go past this little closet right here, right? And you go, that's where you're telling me that the suitcase person got in. That's where you're telling me they got in. So they snuck in here, and they came upstairs past this green, and then they came upstairs right here. But what you're telling me is They came back. They got her from her second story and carried her downstairs. But instead of sneaking out of the house, they took a detour. Instead of sneaking back the way they came in, they took a detour right here past this little brown chair right here through what looks like this little boiler room. There's probably like a water heater, hot water heater is what that looks like, through this little boiler room to where there's absolutely nothing in here. It's just like the unfinished portion, and to where there's absolutely nothing. And you took her to the furthest part to which I don't see any windows. I don't see any windows. Interesting. I don't see any windows. So
several floors up where her parents were, but rather by someone across the street.
Because there are no windows. This is concrete. That door is closed. This is concrete. But somebody heard her. You close that door. But she screamed so loud that somebody heard her through that door, through that window, and 150 yards across the street in a house that is soundproof. She screamed loud, and you had to stop it before Patsy ran downstairs. If Patsy woke up, so it begs the question. And that's why, if that's to believe, then Burke was awake. Burke was awake. Burke came downstairs to see. Burke was awake. Patsy woke up, and they both ran downstairs to find John. If that's the case, if we're going with Dr. Weck's theory, allegedly, they would then, ideally, if that's what we're going for, they would come downstairs and they would see John. One of two things. If he panics and doesn't know what to do, he stays with the body and he's hovering over her, and they ask what happened. Burke's not going to ask anything. He doesn't know. Patsy's going to be like, what the heck? Or the second thing, John is going to run around here because she woke up and John was not in the bed. John is going to act like he's coming from another room and be like, oh, I was downstairs, getting something to eat. I don't know what happened. I was in the kitchen getting something to eat. I thought everyone was upstairs sound asleep. I was reading a newspaper, and as soon as I heard it, I ran down here. But when I came down here, this is what I found. Don't ask, don't tell. It's Patsy's. That's her thing. Don't ask, don't tell. But she knows that there might have been foul play, and she's like, oh, look over here, the window's broken. Somebody must have come through here, and so he spins it and says, hey, this is the case. Interesting. All right. I'm not going to try to fit too much in there. I think that's pretty heavy. I want to chew on that a little bit more, so I'm going to end the video right here, and I'm going to come back. So come back with me, like, share, comment, subscribe. Digest that. Let me know what you think. Till next time, take it easy.